Chris Cassley, Enterprise and Economics Directorate at the CBI. Thank you for your presentation this morning. Clearly there have been a lot of figures that have been used at the national manufacturing debate, some from CBI, EEF, BIS, and we're sort of almost snowed under by positive figures, but also some negative ones about the overall picture of UK manufacturing. But what are some of the more interesting ones and stronger ones in terms of data you'd like to draw out?
I think the fact that that manufacturing itself still adds 140 billion per year to the economy. It employs around 2.5, 2.8 million jobs. That's almost 1 in 3 jobs within the UK are manufacturing. We knock manufacturing at our peril. It's a success story still for the UK, and I think we within the country, we don't realise how successful we still are as a manufacturing nation. We're still within the top 10. We're globally competitive across a range of different industrial sectors, and I think that good news story isn't. We don't tell that story enough to the wider public.
And it's well known that the media has a sort of part to play there. Perhaps playing devil's advocate, they have their own agenda. Who knows what the reasons are? But as a trade organisation, does the CBI have a role, do you see yourselves as having a role in trying to re-educate both the media, the public and government about manufacturing successes?
Our primary aim is, of course, to speak to government regarding manufacturing issues, manufacturing actions, developing manufacturing policy that is going to help grow the UK's manufacturing base. But I think the CBI's role to educate the public on this, or the media, I think we all have a role. We're one of the key stakeholders within the business debate to outline and promote manufacturing. But I mean, of course, we're always going to be talking to our members first, and working with government and other stakeholders. But I think we all have a contribution to make when it comes to emphasising how successful we are as a manufacturing nation.
It's quite a big challenge, overturning perhaps a 30-40 year heavily entrenched negative perception, and it is, I think, sometimes quite odd why the impression is so negative, although that is a generalisation. There are many people who feel that manufacturing is very strong and has a strong future. But perhaps looking ahead, what would you say are the areas of the new economy, the new industrial base, where we can capitalise on to emphasise that positive image of manufacturing, perhaps low-carbon industries?
Absolutely. I think low carbon is fundamental. I mean, one of the statistics I gave in my presentation was, the global low carbon industries are going to be worth around, I think, about $2 trillion in the next 10, 11 years. That's fantastic opportunities for UK manufacturing to take advantage of, build on competitive advantage. Wind power. The UK is ideally placed to take advantage of these things. But also, composites developments. We had a presentation talking about Formula One. That composite development, that technology, will in time come through to the automotive sector and the aerospace sector, and biotechnology. The UK again is world leading in biotechnology. That's an area that we can build on and develop in the coming years. We have the industrial base to develop it and take it forward. So there are lots of different areas we can look at.
You mentioned at least 3 of those areas where the UK, I think, has a strong identification as having a competitive advantage over some of its G20 peers, shall we say, and nanotechnology, biotechnology, composites, and aerospace being just 4. But nevertheless, those industries are also being exploited by our competitors, and it's a very level playing field. Some might argue we've got some catching up to do on some of our competitors. So what would you say, even in those strong sectors of manufacturing, are the challenges that face companies that the CBI have identified, and what can we do about them?
I think it's a fact that we concentrate on being aware of the international competition. I think we have to be aware. Singapore, I gave you my presentation, a superb example. They haven't got an industrial base, but they are looking at researchers. They're looking to attract scientists from overseas to come in and develop their science base and research base. The same goes obviously for China and India. What we need to do is build on our advantages, our heritage, our science base, our reputation for patent development, cited scientific research papers. We're I think second only to the US in terms of the overall numbers, and we need to be aware that overseas, they're increasingly obviously looking at rebalancing their economies. Everyone is looking at manufacturing as a key part of revitalising economic growth, and we really need to be aware of that process.
When you refer to the we, the royal we are referring to government, industry, a united front?
I think it's government and industry. I mean, a core part of our vision and ambitions work was not to emphasise government must do this, government must do that. It's about government, business and academia working together. That's the core part. Industry obviously has its role to play. Academia has its role to play. And I mean, Cranfield today, that's a superb example of universities working with academics, working with business, working with government in taking the policy agenda forward. And we will see that with the development of the technology and innovation centres, hopefully. The first one being high value manufacturing. That's good news. Sure. We need to build on that and take it forward. And
there are some good exemplars of innovation and rather collaboration between this triumvirate of government, business and academia. But do you see, and the TICs, the Technology Innovation Centres, and the EPSRC centres must be applauded for that next step in that in that route or roadmap. But do you see any other evidence that of better collaboration between academia, business and government other than the TICs and the EPSRC centres? I think it's going to be, it's an ongoing process. It's something that, yes, has been happening over time anyway. It's not just a new idea that suddenly all three sectors must work together. R&D tax credits have brought together, government acknowledging the role of tax credits, R&D base in industry and academia, and it's something which we can take forward and develop over time. I mean, I think sort of looking at the wider manufacturing perspective, this isn't going to happen overnight. It's something which we have to build on over time and change people's perceptions over the next 10, 20, 30 years. I mean, our vision and ambitions document is really for 2025. That's really the medium term. What I think you have to sort of concentrate on from a manufacturing perspective is the R&D work that's undertaken now with universities, etc. That's work that may not come to fruition for another 20, 30 years. But if we don't get the blocks right now, then we're in danger of losing that R&D capability. It's ensuring that we have the long-term ideas and vision really for where we want manufacturing to be within the UK. But there's demonstrable evidence that the stakeholders in manufacturing, the three stakeholders if you like, have very much have that longer term vision perhaps than we have done in the past.
I think so. I think that's the case. I think it's realisation now that we are actually getting to that point, definitely.
Great. Well, thank you very much. Chris Cassley from the CBI.
No problem. Thank you.